Hello, this is Datatan from VP Universe. So we're here in this video to talk about the conversion of projects from DMD Colorization from the PAL VNI format into SERUM. So a few prerequisites for that. The first thing is that you will need your project files in the CDump format. If you don't have them, you need to get in touch with ddrummer either on VP Universe or on Discord to know how you will be able to get there. So there's the tools and it will grant you access if you demonstrate that you're the author of the colorization project. Then you will need C++ Runtime, the latest one, and you will need the two tools that are available on GitHub, and the link are in the video descriptions, sorting CDump and colorizing DMD. So how it will work is, first you will get from your CDump file, you will use the software sorting CDump. That will create two files. One is SERUM, the other is CRP. These are the project files of SERUM, and these project files can be opened by colorizing DMD, and it is colorizing DMD that will generate the CRZ colorization file that will be used by the different users. You can swap from colorizing DMD to sorting CDump, and you will see that the two tools are very useful when you are using the software and working on your project. So what are the differences with Pin2DMD editor? Because if you're here, it means that you used to use this software to do some colorization, or perhaps not, but you will see the differences. First thing is that there is no dumps, meaning that of course you will use your CDump at the beginning, but all the dumps, all the frames will be integrated into the project, and you will no longer have dump files. You will not have to do some cutting. So you will be, the principle of SERUM is that you will colorize frame by frame on your frame strip, and you will see later on. So there is no cutting to do. You will not manage the hash code because there is no triggers. So you don't need to manage this part. It is the software that is managing it. Something that can be a bit frustrating at the beginning is that you don't have common palettes. So the palettes are unique. Each single frame has its own palette. So of course you can replicate that to use the same palette on several frames, but there is no library of palettes as it used to have in Pin2DMD editor. You will not have to manage any colorization mode. Meaning that you just colorize either fixed or dynamic directly on the frame without caring about what would be the mode for detection. The software will handle that. For the most complex part, the one that used to use the layered color mask or the layered replace mask, it is replaced by a sprite detection that is not doing the same but quite similar. So when you will get into colorizing DMD, you will arrive in the detection mode. You can of course swap and toggle between the two modes, detection mode and colorization mode, using this little button that is a toggle that will just show the same frame either in detection mode, either in colorization mode. So arriving in the detection mode, first you will need to work on defining masks. So the mask for detection, you should know about masks already. Just be aware that in colorizing DMD, we are hiding what we don't want to see, whereas in Pin2DMD editor, we used to show or at least define a mask with what we wanted to keep. So it's the contrary. So you will understand very quickly, but just pay attention to that. Once you define the masks, you will have to filter your frames because again the principle is that you import into the software the full dump, and you see at the bottom all the frames in the frame strip. So all the frames are imported automatically, but once you define a mask and you click on the filtering options, it will filter and it will tidy the frame strip with the only unique frames, and you will only keep the unique frames, and you will need therefore to colorize them. If ever you remove too much frames with a bad mask, or because you deleted the frame manually, you can of course re-add some dumps. So when you're in colorizing DMD, it's only in TXT format, but if you want to re-add some C dump, you need to go back to sorting DMD to do it. Once all the mask and filtering frames are sorted, then you can work on the colorization. And what you can do is adjust the palette, so you don't see all the 64 colors of the palette of this frame. It's only an additional window that is not showing here. You will have to recreate the dynamic colors. So when you have some dynamic colors, for example, on the scoring screen, you will have to specify again that it is dynamic content. And you will need to deal with the sprite detection. So if you have some video modes, if you have some sprites that are popping on the DMD, then you will have to handle with sprite detection. For all these options, there is some dedicated videos in the SERUM tutorial that you can refer to, of course, to understand a bit more precisely how it works. What I would recommend is that first you convert one CDUMP file. I usually have a lot of dumps in my projects because I try to have as much frame as possible. So what I recommend is that you do only one file at the beginning with sorting CDump. Then you go to colorizing DMD to define the basic detection masks. The one for the attract, the one that are always the same mask that you use, you know, either on the top or the bottom or the center. So you define those masks based on the first dump that you have. And once it's done, and that you filtered the frames already, then you go back to sorting DMD, and then you can import all the other dumps that you had. Why so? Because when you are importing dumps, there is some filtering option that will again tidy a lot and very quickly all the dump file in order to keep only the unique frame that you will need to colorize. So it's important that you define the masks before, because you will gain a lot of time. Then you can sort the content and define some bookmarks, some sections as we call it, in order to navigate more easily into the frame strip, but it's optional. And then you get back to colorizing DMD to colorize the content. I wanted to share what I did and for the conversion of Champion Pub. So I did Champion Pub colorization 2 years ago under Pin2DMD editor, and I wanted to convert it to SERUM. So for the basic conversion, saying that I wanted to have more or less the same result, I would evaluate between 12 and 15 hours to do the job. So Champion Pub is not the most complex DMD, sorry. It's not the most complex ROM, but I can't imagine that it will be much longer. What I mean is, at that time, I had to recreate all the dump file myself manually from VPX. There was not the tool to use your dump files, to convert your dump files, so I lost some time doing so. Recreating the detection mask was quite quick, sorry, because you know you've got the habit about what are the standard masks that you should use, and if you know, as you've been working on your project, you know more or less what are the animation, the scenes that you need to colorize, so you need more or less how to put the mask. So this part was quite quick, and then I had to filter and sort content. Of course, what was the longest part is to recreate the dynamic colors, recreate all the frames and specify on the frames where there is some dynamic contents and so on. At the same time, it was the opportunity for me to sort this out. For all the fixed scene, you know, all the animations that used to be in replace scene in Pin2DMD editor, it's very straightforward. You have to do nothing because everything is colorized already. So unless you want to improve the scenes, you can let them as they are, and they are completed and it's finished already. as we were working also on the testing, on the development of the software, I had to do some testing and some debug on the software. This is why, again, roughly between 12-15 hours for the conversion. But then I worked on improvements, and this is perhaps why the reason, and I will explain later. So I redefined some palettes, the colors, I improved that, I created some gradient effects, some backgrounds, I colorized some transitions, didn't want to colorize them all, but globally it was an improvement of the colorization, and I implemented sprite detection. This took me 15-20 hours, and to be honest, it's not finished yet because I want to put more, because I feel like I can do more for this ROM, and that I can improve colorization again. What were the improvements and why converting? Because in the end, you can ask yourself the question, why would I convert to SERUM? When I say improve colorization, what I could do is, again, gradient effects backgrounds. You can see on the first the first screenshot. I added the pinball machine. I added the table in front of the table that was not there. I added the gradient effect on the sky. And could I have done it in Pin2DMD editor? Yes, I've made some gradient for Junkyard, I've made some gradient for Last Action Hero, so yes, I can do it with Pin2DMD editor. But it takes me a lot of time. With SERUM and with the editors that we use, you can really easily define the gradients and copy-paste it from one frame to the other, even if there is some scrolling, very easily and very efficiently. So it makes this work very, very fast compared to what it was before. In Champion Pub, there is you are fighting some opponents, and these guys, I wanted to improve the quality of the colorization. So improving the number of colors I was able to improve the quantity of colors on the guys, because you can mix some fixed content and dynamic content. So on the second screenshot, all the dynamic content on the left. On the right, sorry, is dynamic, and what is on the left is fixed content. So it's mixing color replace mode and color mask mode. Everything is mixed in SERUM, so you have no limits in the number of colors. You can use 64 colors even on dynamic scenes. Again, I wanted to colorize some transition. What is key and what is very different from SERUM to the old PAL VNI format is that what is not colored is not displayed in SERUM. Meaning that all the transitions between screens, between the scoring, between the countdown, between the animation and so on, will not be displayed if they were not colored by the author. So it means that you will be the one to define whether you want to have a transition or not. If not, of course, you will lose a bit of the, let's say, spirit of the ROM with less transitions, but it makes the colorization in the end a lot cleaner. It just shows very well, very nice. You don't have neither any white screen or orange screen bits here and there because you could not deal with all the transition and so on. You will not see that in SERUM until you decide to do it yourself. So it makes really nice, a really nice finish, I think, of the ROM. And finally, I used some sprite detection because in Champion Pub there was some layered colored mask scene, like the one with the card. So here you cannot see it in color, but on this card video mode, there will be some sprite popping whenever you've got tile or you've got hurt that are red, of course. This will be added by the software with multi-sprite detection. So these were the reasons why I converted to Champion Pub. I really could improve the colorization very easily and efficiently with the software and the SERUM format. So I hope that you will try it yourself with your project.